The first $100,000 is the son of a bitch. That's not elegant, it's just the truth. Everyone dreams about millions. They talk about stocks, real estate, crypto, startups. But until you get your first 100,000, you're not even in the game. You're just pretending. Why is it so hard? Because you start with nothing, and nothing compounds to nothing. It's like trying to push a heavy boulder from a dead stop. Once it's rolling, momentum helps. But at the beginning, it feels impossible. I know because I lived through it. I was born in 1924, right into the Great Depression. My family wasn't poor by choice. We were poor because the whole country was flat broke. My grandfather went bankrupt. My father lost clients. I grew up seeing what financial weakness looks like. It looks like desperation. And I decided early on I'd rather go through life with money than without it. But here's the catch. To get that first 100,000, you have to behave in ways that most people won't. You have to save when it feels pointless. You have to invest when the numbers look trivial. You have to ignore the urge to copy your neighbor who just bought a shiny new car on credit. When you're young, $1,000 feels like a lot. You save it and it earns $20 in a year. You think, this is useless. That's why most people give up. They'd rather buy a toy today than plant a seed for tomorrow. But the joke is on them, because those small sums, disciplined over years, become something formidable. Once you cross 100,000, the compounding engine finally starts working in your favor. 10% on 100,000 is 10,000. Suddenly the returns are visible. Suddenly the effort feels worth it. Most people never get there, not because they can't, but because they're impatient, stupid, or both. They want shortcuts. They gamble in casinos. They speculate in hot stocks. They think wealth comes from brilliance. It doesn't. It comes from surviving long enough for compounding to do the heavy lifting. I'll give you a blunt metaphor. Making your first 100,000 is like digging through wet cement with a spoon. Miserable, slow, backbreaking. After that, it's like slicing through butter with a hot knife. The texture changes. The irony is that the habits you need to reach 100,000 are the same habits that make you rich. Live below your means. Save like a pessimist. Invest like an optimist. Ignore the idiots. It's not complicated, but it is hard. I once said, nobody can help you if you don't save. And I meant it. If you spend everything you earn, there's no investment genius that will rescue you. Not Buffett, not me, not God. The whole secret is this: be slightly less stupid than the average person. Don't envy, don't overspend, don't borrow too much, don't chase hot tips. Do that long enough, and your first 100,000 will come, and then the next 100,000 will come faster. And faster after that. When I was a young lawyer, I didn't make much. But I kept saving. I bought a few stocks. I lived simply. I didn't buy things to impress people I didn't care about. Eventually, my pile grew. The discipline of those early years carried me the rest of my life. Here's the real kicker. I'm not saying 100,000 makes you rich. It doesn't. But it proves you're capable of discipline. And discipline is the rarest commodity in the world. If you're under 40 and broke, don't despair. But don't kid yourself either. You need to save until it hurts. You need to sacrifice. You need to look your friends in the eye when they laugh at your cheap habits and know you'll outlast them. Because in the end, the compounding machine doesn't reward the cleverest. It rewards the stubborn. That's the paradox of wealth. The beginning is unbearable. The middle is tolerable. The end is inevitable. The first 100,000 is hell. But if you get through it, you'll wonder why everyone else is still stuck at zero. So the question is simple. Are you willing to suffer now so you don't suffer later? If you want to guarantee your own misery, start comparing yourself to other people. That's envy. And envy is the dumbest sin of them all. Why? Because it's the only one where you don't get a damn thing out of it. Gluttony, you get a good meal. Lust, you get some temporary pleasure. Greed, you might end up richer. But envy, you just feel miserable that someone else has more. It's like lighting yourself on fire to spite your neighbor. When I was young, I watched envy destroy lives. A lawyer I knew, brilliant man, worked harder than anyone couldn't stand that other lawyers were getting richer faster. Instead of sticking to his practice, he jumped into every hot deal and stock craze he could find. He wasn't trying to make money, he was trying to beat the guy next to him, and he lost his shirt. That's how envy works. It blinds you. It makes you chase things you don't even want just because someone else has them. It makes you play games where you have no edge, and eventually it makes you broke. Buffett and I never wasted time envying others. We admired some, we learned from some, but envy? Never. What would be the point? If someone's got a yacht bigger than mine, good for him. I don't want the damn yacht anyway. Here's the irony. The more you compare, the less you'll actually save. Because envy drives consumption. Your neighbor gets a new car. Suddenly your old car feels inadequate. Your friend takes a trip to Europe. Suddenly you think you deserve one too. And there goes your savings rate. People ask me all the time how to get rich. I tell them, stop trying to look rich. Stop trying to impress idiots. The world is full of fools spending money they don't have to show off to people they don't even like. You want to join them? Fine. But don't whine when your net worth is zero. You know who doesn't get rich? The guy keeping up with the Joneses. You know who does? The guy who quietly keeps piling up his money while the Joneses drown in debt. The numbers don't lie. If you save $10,000 a year for 10 years, you'll have a pile that can compound. If you waste $10,000 a year trying to look rich, you'll have memories and credit card bills. Which one do you want? I'll give you a personal confession. When I was starting out, there were plenty of people in Los Angeles richer than me. They had nicer houses, fancier parties, flashier lives. I didn't envy them.